I still remember the smell. Not of smoke, but of burnt rosemary and pure, unadulterated fear. It happened so fast. One minute I was arguing with Doris, the self-appointed tyrant of the Stonehaven Homeowners Association, about the exact shade of taupe on my front door trim, and the next, a tactical drone was hovering over my perfectly manicured lawn. Did they really just blow up my house? The shock hit me like a physical wave, leaving me breathless and tasting iron. Doris, a woman whose entire existence seemed dedicated to enforcing petty tyranny, was the kind of person who weaponized the word community. For 2 years, she had made my life a living hell, citing me for excessive bird feeder activity, penalizing me for having too many daisies in my garden, and sending 3-page certified letters demanding I trim the single, insignificant branch that dared to cross the invisible line of my property. Every interaction with her was a grinding, agonizing pause in my day, a high-pitched whine that never quite faded. I always wondered, why me? Why the obsession? Just last Tuesday, she had marched onto my driveway, pointing a manicured finger at a stray leaf, and hissed, "Ethan, compliance is not optional in Stonehaven. You are testing my patience." Her smug smile that day was a promise of future misery, but I never imagined this was what she meant. The morning of the blast, I'd received a frantic, whispered call from my neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, a sweet old soul terrified of Doris. "Ethan, they're here. The SWAT team. They say they got an anonymous tip about a chemical hazard in your garage." A chemical hazard? Was she serious? "I keep my cleaning supplies in the utility closet. For God's sake." I dropped my phone, the plastic clattering against the kitchen tile. A sharp, unnerving sound. I sprinted out the back door just as the sirens began to wail. Not the distant, mournful sound of an ambulance, but the aggressive, urgent shriek of emergency response. I scrambled over the back fence, tearing my shirt on a snagged piece of wire, adrenaline flooding my system. I watched, horrified, from the safety of the neighbor's yard as 2 officers, masked and armored, approached my garage door. "Final warning. Clear the perimeter," someone yelled through a bullhorn, the sound distorting and bouncing off the quiet suburban homes. Then came the boom. It wasn't a clean, cinematic explosion. It was a guttural, tearing sound followed by the sickening crunch of wood and glass giving way. A dark, pungent cloud of dust, drywall, and splintered ambition rose over the spot where my garage and living room used to be. My knees buckled. I fell to the ground, scraping my palms on the gravel. My home, my entire life, reduced to a pile of smoking debris because of an anonymous tip. Could this truly be happening? Is this what living in America has come to? When I saw Doris emerge from her house across the street, wearing a robe and sipping coffee, with a look of barely concealed triumph on her face, the realization hit me. She did it. The ensuing legal battle was an emotional roller coaster. Every time her attorney spoke, minimizing my loss and emphasizing their duty to the community, I had to swallow back a scream. The insurance company claimed a loophole, citing act of law enforcement exclusion. My lawyer, Mr. Chun, a man whose calmness belied a viper's intelligence, kept telling me, "Hold tight, Ethan. We're not fighting the police. We're fighting the lie." I just wanted justice, a simple recognition that my life had been destroyed by malice, not legitimate safety protocol. Doris, of course, testified, her voice dripping with sanctimonious concern. "We have to protect the integrity of Stonehaven," she declared, casting a cold, hard glance my way. She seemed invincible, floating above the disaster she created, and I felt a heavy sigh escape me, feeling the weight of the system pressing down. Then came the secondary twist, the piece of evidence Mr. Chun introduced. A low-resolution security camera clip from the gas station 2 blocks away, filmed just 10 minutes before the explosion. It showed Doris, in a disguise that barely hid her, dumping a suspicious, non-hazardous container, labeled paint thinner, into my recycling bin, right near the garage, before quickly making a call on a burner phone. The footage was grainy, but the movement, the vibration of her suppressed victory, was unmistakable. Doris paled, her carefully constructed composure cracking like ice. The day of the final ruling, the courtroom felt suffocatingly small, the air thick with anticipation. Judge Hammond, a woman known for her surgical precision and zero tolerance for nonsense, cleared her throat. The court finds that the anonymous tip was, in fact, malicious and fraudulent, intended to cause severe property damage and emotional distress. The tipster, identified as Ms. Doris Kinsley, acted with clear intent. Furthermore, the court finds the Stonehaven Homeowners Association bylaws, under the guise of maintaining property value, were leveraged to create a hostile environment. Doris's face was turning a peculiar shade of purple. Then came the climax, the moment of pure cinematic that made every jaw in the room drop. The judge leaned forward, her gaze locking onto Doris. While the state maintains that the police, acting on false information, are shielded from liability for the structural damage, a loophole I must begrudgingly accept, I have a different solution for restitution and punitive damages. She paused, letting the silence scream. Ms. Kinsley, you must pay Mr. Miller full replacement value for his property. However, and this was the twist, the pure, distilled essence of sweet justice, given the safety precedents established by the police department's actions, and the need to ensure all community properties meet this new, aggressive standard of safety enforcement, I am issuing a special judicial order. She slammed the gavel down, the echo rattling the ornate ceiling. For the purpose of future high-risk chemical hazard removal training, and to ensure police proficiency in immediate community safety response, the court hereby instructs the Stonehaven Police Department's tactical unit to utilize the permanent, physical address of the Stonehaven Homeowners Association headquarters, which, conveniently, is also Ms. Kinsley's primary residence, as the mandated location for their next 5 quarterly, full-scale, simulated tactical demolitions. A collective, sharp intake of breath filled the room. Doris finally shrieked, a sound more piercing than any siren. My house? You can't. That's against the bylaws, she wailed, scrambling to her feet, knocking over her chair in a chaotic fluster. Judge Hammond simply gave a slight, satisfied nod. The court finds that the pursuit of community safety, as Ms. Kinsley so vigorously advocated, transcends mere bylaws. Justice, after all, should be universal. As the bailiff escorted Doris out, sobbing hysterically about her prize-winning rose bushes, I felt the tension drain from my body. Outside, the distant, unmistakable sound of a police convoy, now heading in the opposite direction, towards the Homeowners Association headquarters, was the sweetest music I had ever heard. The long game had paid off. Never let the petty tyrants win. You must fight fire with fire, or in this case, fight a fraudulent safety concern with a court-ordered, legally sanctioned simulated tactical demolition. Justice is not blind. Sometimes it just needs a good address change.